Thank you, Rory, and thank you everyone for having us here today. A special thanks to Board BIA and ERBS for hosting. We really appreciate the wonderful efforts that have been put to this conference. The U.S. Roundtable is made up of 111 industry leaders who represent 30% of our cattle herd, 20 billion pounds of beef processed, and nearly 100 million consumers. Our main progress to date has been focused on the development of our sustainability framework, which we've been working on since our launch in 2015. To date, we have gone through 5 internal public comments on this framework, receiving 1,200 specific internal comments, and have gone to public comment period. Through the first comment period, we've received 450 comments, and we're currently in the process of updating the framework to prepare for our second comment period, which we hope to launch in early December. So I wanted to walk you through the 6 high priority indicators in the U.S., or another way to look at that would be how we define the most significant focus areas as it relates to beef sustainability. Those are team member health and safety, water resources, efficiency and yield, air and greenhouse gas emissions, land resources, and animal health and welfare. And those are built on the foundations of the GRSB's principles and criteria. Now, as we all know, every sector of the beef value chain can impact and influence those indicators in different ways. So to help facilitate that, we developed 51 metrics. And so these metrics are really enabling each sector of the value chain to impact those 6 priority areas in the best way that they can. So I wanted to provide you an example. So we'll use our water resources indicator to talk a little bit about how the cow-calf sector has approached it, and then how the processing sector has approached that. So one of the metrics that would inform the cow-calf indicator, so how a cow-calf operator would improve their water resources, is the development of a grazing management plan. That's different than how a processor would influence water resources. And so we've developed a metric for a processor, which might include the development of a water recycle or reuse program. So the metrics, they're pretty consistent across our priority indicators. We have 9 metrics that inform each priority indicator, with the exception of land resources, which has 6. Now, the big question then became, how do we inform the metrics? And so we developed 27 sustainability assessment guides. And this is really the how to the why. So in this space, I wanted to use the same example to help make it a little more real. So if we go back to the grazing management plan that the cow-calf sector developed for their water resources indicator, they then developed a sustainability assessment guide to help them implement a grazing management plan. So that assessment guide would include the highest priority impacts or efforts related to developing a grazing management plan. And in the processor sector, we provided additional details on how to implement a water reuse or recycling program. So similarly, they're spread relatively evenly across 6 in each category, with the exception of auction markets, which have 3 sustainability assessment guides. So we're currently testing the framework in 11 different pilot and research projects. 8 of those are within the cow-calf sector, 1 in the auction market sector, 8 touch the feed yards, 3 in packer and processor, and 2 in the retail sector. So it is a complete supply chain framework and program, and Ashley will be going through all of those in the breakout sessions to follow. So we have a lot of what's next. We're currently really in the process of responding to the more than 450 comments we received during public comment, and are preparing to go to a second launch in early December. We plan to officially launch our framework in early May, and that will come with a complete array of self-assessment tools and a supply chain recognition program. Then we will shift gears and focus on outreach and uptake, and develop additional pilot projects, and then finally develop a plan for regular review. So with that, I'd like to personally invite each of you to our General Assembly meeting, which will be held in late April and early May in Fresno, California.